Elementor is coming with the new builder structure, which is flexbox container. This is still in the beta version, but they are coming with this new model structure to their upcoming version. By using this new feature, it will not only speed up our website, it will also very helpful for responsive view. So we can easily customize our website for any devices very easily. In this tutorial, I will explain all about the flexbox container, and finally I will show you how you can create a basic structure or layout like this using this new structure flexbox container. Hi, my name is Farjana Rashid, professional web designer and developer, and I am working in this area for last 8 years. Before going ahead, if you like to see this kind of valuable tutorial more, give this video a big thumbs up, otherwise you may not find this kind of valuable tutorial next time. And if you are new here, like to see my more upcoming videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Now let's go ahead and without any further ado, let's get started. By default, when we open the Elementor builder, we can see the default structure like this. So when we go to add new section, and here we can take different structure, or this is basically the row, and inside row this is column, and we can take multiple column, and inside each of the column we can take different elements. And here if we want to add more custom section, so we can take inner section, and inside this we can also add our elements. Now Elementor is going to change the section row and column structure, and they are going to a new structure way like flexbox container. So first of all, we have to enable it. Still now this is in beta version. Elementor is going to enable this feature to their newest version. So for now I am going to Elementor. From dashboard, if I go to Elementor and settings, and here if I go to experiment, so these all are experimental mode, so they are going to enable these features with their latest version. So here if I scroll down, here is options flexbox container. So by default this is inactive. I have to activate this and save changes. Now if I go to our builder, and now first saving it, if I refresh, and now if I go to the edit section, here I will also find the options convert to container. So if you already create a structure or layout using the section row and column structure, you can also convert that design into container mode. So if I click on convert, and this time it's going to convert into the flexbox container structure. Alright, for now I'm crossing all this, and now if I click on this plus icon, here is add new container, and we will find different kind of settings or default structure we can take. For example, by default this is the direction column, here is the direction row, and also here is the two containers, and also we will find different kind of structure. I'm going with the first one, and here we can insert our elements directly inside the container. So click on this plus icon, and if I take this image, it's taking the full width, and also if I take the another one, so all the images by default taking by vertical position, we can change it. If I go to edit container, and here is the items, from here we can customize the container structure. By default this will be in column direction. If we set it to row, all the items will display in a single row one after another. And now if we take another image, if I click on this 9 dots icon and take another image, so we can see all the items is taking equal sizing, equal spacing, and all is placing in a single row. Instead of image, if I take another text, like if I take any heading, so it will also take a certain spacing by row direction. So if I want to try this structure in a mockup way, if I open my Paint, and here the old structure was like that, the section, and inside section there was row and there was some columns, and inside each of the column we have to take the elements individually. And now with the flexbox container mode, we only need to take the container, and then we can add our elements directly inside this container one by one. And here if we set the direction row, so all the elements will placed in a row direction, and if we set the direction to column, so that case all the elements will be placed in a single column. Now to understand the new structure more clearly, I am going to creating a layout like this. So here this is the 3-section layout. I'm going to creating this exact layout using the flexbox container, so you will understand how it's working. Now I'm going to removing this container, and now going for the first section. Here is a 1 column and 2 column structure. So for that I'm going to add new container, and this will be the row direction. So selecting row, and inside this we need to take 2 column. So for that we can take inside a sub container. So click on this plus icon, and here I'm taking this container and also going to duplicate. And for this section, if I go to edit container, and we can set a min height. So from here I'm setting height 500 or 600. So for the first structure I need to set the width to 50%, and for the second container we need to set the width to a smaller width. So for the first one, click on this plus icon, and inside this I'm taking some text, then 2 button. So going to copy this text, and here I'm taking the heading, adding my text, and then here will be some small text. I'm taking text editor, and after that we need to take in fact 2 buttons side by side. So here we need to take another container, and inside this I'm taking button, and another one. So here it will be in row direction. So if I go to edit container, and if I go to items, select the direction to row, and simply we can see it's placed in a single row. And for all this content we need to place it vertically center. So if I go to edit container, if I go to items, from here we can change the alignment. It will work for align items, and it will work for specific content. So for vertical direction we can change the position by clicking justify content. We can make it to different direction like flex start, flex end, space between. So it will be spaced equally each of the items, space around, and finally the space evenly. Alright, for this time I'm going to select the center. So all content will be in centered, and align items, so it will change the alignment to horizontally. So we can make it to center align. This time it will not work because it's already taking the whole spacing. And now for the right side, here we need to set the social icons and a text. So for that, click on this plus icon and going to add social, and column. From here I'm making it to 1 column, and also going to style tab, I'm changing the icon style, or we can do all the styling task after a few moments. For now I'm going back, and then we need to add a text. So going here and going to add a, we can take also this one, heading, and here I'm changing the text. This time I'm changing the HTML tag to P, and here if I go to advanced, and from here we can set a specific width. We can set it to inline auto or a custom width. I'm making it to 200, or we can set 85, and also you can rotate it. So if I scroll down, here is the transform, and here is the rotate. I'm making it to -90, and here if I go to the edit container, go to items and changing the alignment to flex int, so all is going to the very right side. That's simple. You can see we can do it very easily in this structure. Now I'm going to add styling for this container area. So going to edit container, going to style tab, and here background type, I'm setting a background image, and position, center, size, cover, and also going to add background overlay. Alright, and now I'm going to change all the font style, button style, and all this style very quickly. Here I'm only focusing on the container structure. So you already know how you can add styling with any text, any button, and these basic changes. So I'm not taking too much time for this. I'm going ahead. Alright, I'm done with this font style and section style, and now need to add some spacing with this text. So going here and going to advanced. Here I need to add some margin in top and for the right side, making it to unlink, and for top adding 20, and this will be on the very right side, so we can add margin right. I'm making it to -20, or I'm adding -50. That's perfect. And again we need to place this whole text and icon to the bottom area. So if I go to edit container and items, justify content, flex int, that's simple. So we can see it's moving to the very bottom, but here we need to add some spacing in bottom, because here we just rotate this text, so it's hiding inside this section. So we need to add some padding in bottom. Going to advanced and padding, making it to unlink. For bottom I'm adding 90. Alright, looks good. And now if I hide the panel, so it's looking like this. And finally if I check the responsive view, so click on this responsive mode, and if I go to tablet, so it's looking like this. And here we can increase the width for this container for the left side. If I go to edit container and width in %, I'm making it to 80 and setting the content width to full width. And also you have to do the same thing for the right side. Going to layout, content width, making it to full width, % and 20. Alright, now it's looking good. And same way for the phone. So for phone it's by default taking the 100% width, but here I want to set this icon on the right side. So for the first container I'm setting the width to 90 and for the second making it to 10, and if I remove the inside spacing, so if I go to the outer container and if I go to items, and here is the element gaps, I'm making it to 0. Alright, now it's looking perfect. Also here we have to fix this text position. So I'm opening it in navigator, and if I go to heading, so it moved in top and then showing the social icon. So for that, if I go to heading and from advanced, here we can set specific item settings for each of the element, and here we can set the specific order direction, so we can move it to the end. And now going to margin, making it to unlink, and going to add top to 30, and for the right side adding minus 30 or only 30, going to increasing the width to 110. Alright, here I have added minus 22 margin for left, and also set the width to 60 pixels. So you can set your own way, this is not so much mandatory here, or your design can be different. Here my main goal is to understand the structure. For now I'm closing it, and now going for the next section. So here also we can set the container, and we can take one container and two container, and inside this container we have to take 4 different sub container. Alright, now let's go ahead, we can cross it here, and now if I scroll down, if I'm taking add new container and direction to row, I'm also setting a min height. I'm adding 700 or 600, and now I'm taking 2 container, first taking 1 and another 1, and inside this we have to take 4 specific container. So again going here and taking another container, and here first we can add all the content to the first container and then we can duplicate. Alright, so now for the left side I'm going to add all this text. Going to add this text in the same way, then small text, and finally the button. And here I'm setting it to the vertically center, so going to edit container and going to items, making the justify content to center. Alright, so it's now in vertically center. And now for the right side, here I need to take some text, and here is a button. So in the same way, going to take this headline, and some small text, and finally this button. Now I'm going to add the text style and button style. Alright, I'm done with the text style, and now going to duplicate this container. So going to duplicate, and here first I'm going to decrease the width. So for the first one, same way, content width, making it to full width and making the width to 50%. And also for the second one, going to copy and paste style, and here we can change the column direction. So here if I go to navigator And if I go to this whole container, going to items, direction, making it to row. Alright, looks good. And now in the same way, I'm going to duplicate one more time, and again. And here I want to set 2 items in top, then 2 items in bottom. So for that, if I go to the outer container, from the navigator, here is the outer container, and going to items, here is the wrap. So if I click on this wrap, and you can see it's showing one after another. And here one more thing, we need to decrease the width, because here also added some space between inside each of the containers. So if I go to the first one, and if I change the size to 48, and same for the second one, and here if I set the space between items and space element gaps, so I'm making it to 0, and here we can set it to space between. So here I have added the width to 48, and now if there is any space, it will be placed inside. Now in the similar way, going for the another container, making the width to 48, and here we can add some spacing in top. So for that we can add some margin bottom for each of the container. Alright, I am done. And finally I'm changing the color for this box and also the text. Alright, I am done. And finally for this section, if I need some spacing in top and bottom, so for that going to edit container, and from advanced we can take some regular padding in top and bottom, so making it to unlink. And for top, going to add some padding in top and bottom. And here if we want to decrease the width for the left side, we can also do that. So going to edit container and content width, full width, I'm making the width to 40, and the same for the right side. Checking from navigator, so this is the outer container, and content width, full width, making it to 60. So this looks good now. And finally also checking it from the responsive view. So for tablet, it's looking like this. We can keep it, or if we want to make it to 100% width, we can also do that. So here if I go to edit container and layout, items, so here direction I'm making it to column, and now it's showing vertically, and this time I'm changing the width to boxed, and also for this one making it to boxed. Sorry, not this one. Going from the navigator, going to container, and full width, making it to boxed. Alright, so it's now perfect for phone, sorry, for tablet. And if I go to phone, so it's also looking good for phone view by default. We can keep it. I'm done. And now going back to the desktop, and finally going for the last section. So now for this structure we need 1 container, 2 container, and 3 container. And inside this can be element, so we need not to take extra container. Okay, so now go ahead, going to add new container, direction, I'm taking the outer column or outer container, so this can be in column direction. And setting a min height, I'm setting the height to 700. And now here I'm taking a sub container. So this will be for the top and the left and right, or this can be one container. Going to duplicate, and inside this I need two container. So again going here and one container and another one, and this will be in row direction. So if I go to navigator and if I go to the outer one and items, making it to direction to row. Alright, so now the structure is created, and if I go to the outer one, so we can set it the vertically center and crossing it. If I go to items and making it to center. Alright, now for the first one I am taking this title text and also taking this smaller text. So again going here and taking this text, and here going to this container, items, direction to row. So by default it's showing like this. You can also increase the width like this. And now for the right side I'm taking a image, or instead of taking image we can just take a background image, so it will cover the whole section for the equal to the left side. So going to edit container, style tab, and background, I'm adding a background image, position, center, repeat, no repeat, and size cover. Alright, now for the left side we can take some iconic box. Click on this plus icon and icon box, and duplicating this one. One more time. And now if I go to edit container, items, change the direction to row, all is showing in a single row. And now I'm setting the width for each of the element. Going to advanced, and here is the width. I'm setting the width to custom %, and making the width to, in the same way we can not taking the 50%, instead that I'm taking 48%, and doing same for the others. Paste style, and now going to edit container, going to items and wrap, making it to wrap, and elements gap, making it to 0. Alright, perfect. So now it's placed in one after another, and two items in one row. And here I'm setting the space around or space between, so it's taking some gap. And also we can add some margin in bottom for each of the element. So going here from advanced margin, I'm going to add margin bottom to 20, and same for others. Alright, I'm done with the basic structure, and now I'm going to add the text style and the background style. Alright, I'm done, and finally checking the responsive view. So for this section we can keep it, and for this one edit container or going to navigator, going for the outer container, and items, making the direction to column. Alright, so now it's looking like this, and here we can add some spacing. So going to add this spacer, and spacing I'm making it to 200, or we can increase it. And for this whole section we can add some padding, so we can do that from desktop also. And now also going for the phone view. So for this section here, if I go to this container, we can set the direction to column, and from here going to advanced and setting the width to 100%, and also for this one setting the width to 100%. And similarly for this, if I go here, outer container and items, making the direction to, it's already in column, going to container, sorry, this one, and going to items direction column, and for each of the item from advanced, making the width to 100%. Going to copy the style, paste style. Alright, I am done. And finally from the desktop view, I'm going to add some padding from advanced. For padding, making it to unlink, and for top 70 and bottom 70. Crossing the navigator, and also if I now check the responsive view, so it's looking perfect. Alright, crossing it, and finally saving our page. So this is our final layout. So you see how easily we can make our structure using this flexbox container. And this container not only easy to use, it will be also helpful for website speed and also very useful for responsive view. So that's all for today. If you like this tutorial helpful, give this video a big thumbs up. Otherwise, you may not find this kind of valuable tutorial next time. And if you are new here, like to see my more upcoming videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. And finally, if you like to work with me for any WordPress project, you can contact me through my website. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.